Okay, all right. Good morning, everyone. Let's get started. First of all, thanks for showing interest for this scripting, program. And today is going to be kind of a demo session. You get to know what are the topics that we are going to cover and how I'm going to deliver this and what kind of problems that we are going to solve. Okay, so there are many more. Okay, hope my screen is visible. Can someone confirm that you are able to see the screen? Okay, so the agenda for the day is the first thing is I'll be introducing about the VLSI mentors and the EDA scripting course delivery plan, and we'll be talking about what is tickle and what is that we call it as a commands and what is we call it what is it we call it as a scripts and variables and command substitutions and controlling word structure, expressions and lists, loops, string manipulations and arrays, proc, file operations, and regular expressions and substitutions, and the problems that I have in mind that I will be covering during the course. Okay, so VLSI Mentors, it was founded by a team of VLSI professionals with 20 years of experience, and trainers will basically trainers are with 15 plus years of mentoring experience, started in April 2022 with the focus of delivering nothing but 100% practical, and you will see that even in this course as well. And our team is basically expertise in handling top level subsystem and block levels, and we are expert in timing analysis, timing closure, physical verification, and IR drop analysis. Now, our team have handled the design, the frequency up to 3 gigahertz. Okay, successfully taped over 100 plus projects collectively throughout the career, and our team also have expertise in, they have currently worked, currently they are all working, and you know we have worked technology nodes ranging from 250 nanometer to 3 nanometer. Okay, and that is about VLSI mentors. And current is basically the first thing is we have a physical design mentorship covers complete RTL to GDS flow. Okay, and this one EDA scripting, and this covers tickle pearl and your EDA scripting. Okay, and future offerings, so we are working to towards to launch the DFT and DV and custom layout courses as well. So that is about VLSI mentors. Okay, so now coming to this course. Okay, now if you so we are actually covering TCL mainly, and Pearl that would be kind of covered on the side. Okay, now the duration I come up I have planned it to cover all the topics in 8 weeks. Okay, and timings gonna be 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Okay, Saturday and Sunday. Okay, and so how do I or how do we practice things? So the environment, basically we need Linux environment. Okay, now we will have a virtual machine with the Linux OS, so we will provide that to all of whoever is enrolling. And all the necessary input files, say for example our reports, or let's say we might be working with some of the reports or log files, or maybe Verilog also would be provided. And EDA tools, again, we will have to, since there's a kind of EDA scripting, and we will provide EDA tools DB or the sessions. Okay. Now, and also if you look at EDA tools would be enabled only the last 2 weeks. Okay, because we have a lot of other things you need to learn, the scripting and constructs, solve other problems. Okay, so ICC to 7 days and PT 7 days. And if you look at the tools that you would be able to use only for scripting. So we will not be sharing any of our regular implementation scripts and anything. So you will have to follow, and you have to use that only for the scripting scope only. Okay. And coming to the discussion group, so there will be a Telegram group that we will create. Okay. And it's only for the enrolled participants. Now coming to the support, so doubt and queries would be addressed during the weekdays, so preferably after 6 p.m. because I'm also working. Okay. And we use the Telegram group for all the kind of discussions. Okay. And we will revisit this slide again, probably towards the end. Okay. So that, like, if you have questions, we will try to address it. Okay. So now I wanted to take you guys through, since everyone is here, I wanted to take you guys through the fundamentals and give you a basic idea of what is tickle and how it is being used for writing automations and etc. So what is tickle? So it's basically a programming language. Okay. Now you can build on the fly commands. Okay. See, we call it that as a procedures. Okay. So I'm sure everyone would be, everyone is working in industry, or at least they have an idea. So say for example, now if you look at, everyone knows about something called get cells. Okay. Now ideally speaking, this get cell is a kind of tool command. Now you can come up with your own commands as well, something called using proc. You can also come up with your own set of custom commands. Okay. And now it is a platform independent. So when I say platform independent, you can execute this in Linux environment, and as well as Windows environment, and easy to use. You can build GUIs also using this, so that we call it as a toolkit, TK. So but that will not be covered here, because our intention is to learn the programming, and you should think like a programmer. Okay. Okay, so now tickle commands. So what is tickle command? So it's basically it's basically, if you look at it, the tickle syntax, one or more words separated by a white space. Okay, now the first word is basically a command name, and the others are kind of, say arguments, and it returns string results. Okay, now, so this kind of, say, one command. Now if you look at here, say set project, say Tesla. Now this whole thing is basically a command. Okay. Now it's basically the first one is your tickle, the reserved variables are basically the commands. So set is basically the tickle command, and now project is the variable, and Tesla is your value. Okay. Now puts, so whatever that you are there now, you have in this double quote, you are just printing them. Now puts is basically a tickle command which actually displays the value that capture or put in the double quotes. Okay. Now say set a 10 and set b 15. So this is how you actually go and set your variables, and then you wanted to display them, whatever the values that are stored in this a. Okay. So say like dollar a, and and b equal to dollar b. Okay, so now this is going to print a equal to 10. Okay, and there will be a tab spacing, and then b equal to kind of say 50. Okay, now these are all individually, if you look at these are all, we can call it as a tickle command. And now putting all this together in a file, okay, putting all these together in a file, and just you source that file. Now that is something that we call it as a script. Okay, so it's basically, when you say script, it's just a sequence of commands, okay, captured in a file. Okay, and they would be executed one after other in the order of that they you capture them. Okay, now how does the tool understand what is the where the new line starts and everything, or where the line ends? So basically each and every command is basically separated by a new line or a semicolon. Okay, simple example, a simple example, see here there is a semicolon. So now the whole thing that you can capture it in your same script, in the script. Now you add a semicolon here. Now the tool treats this as a one line and this as a kind of another line. Okay, now the new lines meaning, so this is a kind of line. Okay, now it ends with say slash n, that means it's kind of the next line starting over here. So any commands, you know that will be treated as a new lines, slash n, or kind of, or the semicolons. Okay, someone is saying it's kind of breaking. Is it so? Okay, all right. Okay, so now what is variables? So what are the basic variable settings, and how do you go and what are the right variable, the right format? Okay, now if you look at, so variable should always start with the letters. Okay, we don't prefer it starting with any kind of numbers. Okay, so set a 4. So this is kind of valid variable. Okay, now see, this is something you see here, right? Set 1 underscore a. This is something that we shouldn't be doing it. Now probably if you want, you can actually do it like kind of say a underscore 1. Set a underscore 1. Say here you can put your values, so that is okay. So this is allowed, but the first thing is that we don't prefer doing this way. Okay, and now the next one, if you look at say set x4. Okay, now the next thing is, now how do you substitute this variable? So for example, you have a set a10. Okay, now set b, a meaning what? Now this will just, b will have value of a. Okay, I mean just value of a, but it will not be replaced by another 10. Now if you really wanted to do that, what is it we should do is, it should be like kind of set b $10, sorry, $a. Okay, so now this will actually having, now b will be equal to 10. Okay, now what is this meaning? So you have a variable that you are setting, it's called a. Now the value in that variable is basically 10. Now anytime if you wanted to substitute variables with the values, right, now you should always use dollar a. Okay, now that means it is pointing to a value. Okay, now let's look at this way, this one. So set y. Okay, now it says x plus 10. Now x here it is 4. Now what is going to be the value? It is going to be, it will not be 4 plus 10. it will not be the 14. It would be like kind of, it will have just x plus 10. The value, the value of this, would be x plus 10. It would be printed as it is. And set z. So now you look at the dollar $x plus 10. Now what is it going to be? This also will not do any arithmetic operations because you are not asking the tickle compiler to express it. Okay. Now if you look at, it is also going to be kind of 4 plus 10. Okay. Now, but at the same time, if you look at, we use something called expr. Okay, it is something that we call, this is how we perform operations. Say for example, if you wanted to add two numbers, so expression 5 plus 10. Okay, so now this is going to be 15. Okay, and say expression, say 10 divided by 3, and say 10 module by 2. Okay, so it's kind of, plus minus multiplication and all of that. So we use express expr for doing all the kind of arithmetic operations. Okay, and there is another syntax that we have, it's called eval. Okay, now what is this meaning is, before it completely comes out and performs anything, it just executes this value, and then it comes out. Okay, so evaluate argument as a command, so the whole thing as a command it will try to evaluate. Now for example, now since we are all from the same industry, okay, so what eval where we use is, it's kind of, say, put it like this, say, uh, get cells. Okay, so hyphen hierarchical star dollar cell, or star hyphen filter. Okay, ref name. Okay, star, say ram. Okay, so before it moves to the next line, it actually goes and it substitutes all the variables. So you may have a variable here, instead of this, say dollar name. Okay, now what the tool would do is, first it figures out all the variables and substitutes it with the values, and then execute this line and then moves to the next one. So that is the use of eval. Okay, and we will use this a lot in our regular scripts. Okay, you will get to learn. And now next one is basically, say for example, string length. Okay, now this would actually counts your length of the string and returns. So it's basically each and every command returns something. Now it could be just a variable's definition, or it could be due to some output of some operations, or evaluating the whole thing as a command, and then some commands returns the count of certain things. Okay, okay, now let's talk about variable substitution. Now, say syntax. So this is the kind of way we substitute the values. Okay. Now, your variable name consists of letters, digits, and underscores. So we talked about it in a previous the slide, right? So your variables can start with, supposed to start with alphabets. Okay, and they cannot start with the numbers. And I used to write, say for example, set, say underscore underscore a. So this is also kind of valid thing that I have done, but these are all some things, ideally I would suggest not to follow this. uh, have all the variables defined something like this with a valid meaning, so that you understand it. Okay, avoid you writing something with underscores, or starting with the numbers. Okay, Now let's understand this. Say set B, which is say 66. So the output is going to be 66. Okay. And now set A B. What is this meaning? You, since you have not specified dollar, this is going to be just this A is going to be just say B. The output will be just B. Now, if you see this, so set A dollar B. Now this would actually, assign the value that is there in the B to A. See here, now A is equal to 66. Okay. And next one is basically A equal to dollar B plus dollar B plus dollar B. So that means it is all going to be 66 plus 66 plus 66. Okay. It will not be arithmetic operation, done value that will be stored here. It would be just 66 plus 66 plus 66. Okay. And the next one is basically A equal to dollar B dot 3. That means it is going to be kind of 66.3. And set A dollar B4, that means it is going to be, it is actually looking at B4 as a one variable. Now you need to understand, it is looking at B4 as a one variable. Okay, so that is the reason it would actually, error out saying there is no such variable. No. So dot plays a bigger role. So if you put dot, that the outcome of that particular thing is going to be different, and without dot, that is going to be different. Okay, it would, the whole string would be treated as a variable. Okay. And in industry, what we actually do is, say you may have run areas. Okay, I'm sure so you may have a run area. Okay, now people usually say like kind of project. Okay, ABC. Okay, slash, say your block name. Okay, and run one, and etc. Now what we do is, so this ABC can be, we usually put it as a variable. Say set proj name. Okay, now say ABC. Okay, now set block name. Okay, say CPU. Okay, now when we go and write out this whole run area, right, how do we put it in a variable? So set run area, okay, is equal to, now what we do is say slash project. Okay, and slash, now this is what you need to watch out. Here we put this thing in a curly brace, dollar proj name. Okay, and curly brace come out, and then you put your dollar block name. Okay, and then slash run one. Okay, so the reason behind is, so only this particular, there is a whole line. Okay, now only in this is treated as a variable. It will not be picking unnecessary things. Okay, only these two would be treated as a variable. It will not treat anything after that and all of that. Okay, now let's say if you wanted to still print this. Okay, now what is the rest, another way it would be like kind of, see, set A, now dollar, okay, 4. Now this way, you know what it will do? It will print 664. Okay, so this is another way of actually defining a variable, or performing substitutions, and you are making sure the tool treats only this as a variable, not 4. Okay, so these are all kind of things that we pretty much follow in industry, because we try to write lot of scripts, and you might wanted to write out in a script, the scripts folder, the reports folder, or you might write out a script and source it on the fly. Okay, so you need to know what is the right way. So when you have a bigger line, or you wanted to tell that the compiler, the tickle compiler, how they should behave. Okay. Am I going faster, or it is like, okay, my one person says, oh yes, and one person says no. I have a couple of more slides, and so you would obviously learn all these things in the upcoming the classes. Definitely, these are all, probably this is the only theory that you will see in class also. It is more of practical sides. Okay, let me just try to go little slow. Okay, so command substitution. Now, if you look at, right, we pretty much use this every time. Now, a simple thing, evaluate the script and substitute the results. That is what we call it as a kind of, the command. Now, it can occur anywhere, okay, within the whole line. Now look at this sample command. Now say you have a set a equal to 4. Now what I wanted to do is I wanted to, it has to be a, okay, dollar a plus 2. Okay, now set b equal to expr, do the arithmetic operation of dollar a, okay, plus 2. Okay, and this would actually return 6. Okay, this would actually return 6 as a result, because you're asking, you're performing arithmetic operation. Okay, and the next one, if you look at here, set a b minus 3, it's basically now 6 minus 3 is going to be 3. So now again, this would be written as it is, and this would be evaluated, and the result would be printed here. The basically the output of this is going to be 6. Okay, dollar b, okay, minus 3, it is going to be 3. So anytime if you wanted to print or do it, perform any kind of operations, now you would have to use this way. So this square bracket is basically the it's basically treated as a one command, new command, and it would be executed, and the result would be brought it here. Okay, now let's understand a simple thing. So set a, okay, 10. Okay, now set b equal to say 5. Okay, now if you look at, right, say expr, say set c is expr, say dollar a star dollar b. Okay, now this is one way. Now what I can do is the same thing, I can also write it, say for example expr dollar a star, now expr dollar b star 2. Now what is it going to be the output of this? Can you guys tell me what would be the output of this? Unmute and let's make it as an interactive. 10 into 5, yeah, this is going to be 50. And what about this? So b into 2, it is going to be 10. 10, it is going to be, d is going to be 100. Yeah, yeah. Okay, so you can write it, so now what is this meaning is, this is evaluated first. It's basically a command, and it's evaluated first. Now the result is basically substituted here, and now with that result the operation would be carried out. Okay, now this is exactly the same as that we use in our regular day-to-day basis, right? Say for example, say you have a get pins. Okay, okay, now, okay, please go on mute. Now for example, now say you have a NAND gate which is driving a, say, mux. Okay, now say this is, say, inst 1, say this is inst 2, and say this is net to 1. Okay, now I wanted to query, so I know I have a I wanted to take this mux pin. Okay, and I want to query this particular thing. Now what we usually do is, so get cells. Okay, get cells, say inst underscore 1. Okay, now what is the next thing? I need to find out a pin. Okay, get pins. Okay, hyphen of objects. Okay, now once you have this, okay, now you can use, see, get nets hyphen of objects. Okay, so now the whole thing you can put it like kind of, see, all the nets that are connected to all the pins. It could be input, output, and everything. Say for example, now set nets. Okay, now what it will do is, first it will go and try to find out the cell named instance 1, and now the next, once it is finds out, okay, now it is basically next thing. Now it gets value, now get pins of this particular object. Now it, this one, it is basically, brings it, returns kind of like, say, I1 I2 and select line yes, and output. Now the next one, now take this value, the return, whatever the outcome of this command would be, passed here, and then get nets of all those pins. Guys, please go on mute. Please go on mute. Okay, now get nets of all those pins. Now this will actually bring a collection of, or create a collection of all the nets that are kind of connected to this mux. Now what is this meaning is, this square bracket, okay, will be evaluated first. The outcome of this is substituted here. Now this would be, the next thing would be evaluated. Now outcome of this would be substituted here. Now this would be looked into, it will get evaluated. Now then finally the nets would be having a value of the get nets return, whatever the value that this command returns. Okay, so now if you look at, you having this square bracket, okay, you would actually use it everywhere. Okay, you would use it everywhere. Okay, so yeah, any questions? Okay, yes. Hi. 1 minute. Sorry. Just wanted to clarify. So there is a two different meeting that is actually running, because there are 300 plus people have registered for this session. Okay. So okay, maybe one person can go here. What's the name? You can just say your name, and then we can speak, so that I will. Control now which meeting group. Yeah, hi, go ahead. Yeah, it is just that, I'm just, see, my intention is at this moment I'm just trying to explain what is the meaning of the square brackets, where we use and how we use and all of that. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. No, see, once again, now I don't have Innovus here. We have only ICC, but I work with Innovus. I can help you out with Innovus as well. Commands I can help, but I may not be able to show you any kind of demo because I don't have any the Innovus tool with me. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Someone was asking. Please go ahead. Hi. I already someone is explaining. Please wait a sec. Sorry. I was. Yeah. Go ahead. Guys, two people are talking. No, no, wait. I understand. Two people are talking together. Maybe one person, please stay. Give me a wait for a minute and then talk. Other can go ahead. Maybe both of you are waiting or what. Okay, I'm going to mute one meeting. Yeah, go ahead. No, no. See, that is what I'm telling. No, 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 no. Hold on. So there is a 300 plus people have registered, and we have tried getting a premium thing, but that kind of delayed. So I had to split it in two Google meetings, and it is running in parallel now. That is the reason I'm saying for you maybe in only one meeting, but there is another meeting run. So both of you may be asking the or questions at the same time. There is a overlap. Okay, so that's what. Maybe you guys can type the questions and I'll answer it out. Yeah, Naveen, you get it only for last 2 weeks. Okay, so it's basically the question is, can we get the tool access? I have clearly showed in one of the slide in the starting. So you will have the tool access for last 2 weeks. So 1 week ICC and 1 week PT. Yeah, that is, a scope is only meant for your scripting part. Now before you go into the tool, you have to practice all the constructs and everything, so that the moment you go to tool you can actually be efficient and use it. Okay, I hope I answered, Naveen. Yeah, go ahead. No, no, that is what I'm telling. This will work in Innovus also. This command is kind of get cells, get nets, get pins, or it will work in Innovus as well. It is there. I have been using Innovus since 15 years. It is there. That's fine. No, when we enroll, when we have a closed loop, we will work together, right? So I know I'm good on both ICC2 and Innovus as well. Okay, yeah. Sujata, you are asking probably without expression, which will give the same result. Are you talking about this portion or are you talking about this portion? I'm not sure. Maybe say I'll mark it as a one and I'll mark it as this as a two, so that like you can guide me like which is your doubt. So without expression, what same answer? Okay, the second one. No, without expression, how it will be? It will just print dollar b. Basically, 6 minus 3. That is a value it will print. That's what we discussed in the previous slide. No. It will not print 3, it will print 6 minus 3. Okay. Okay. All right. Moving on. I have a couple of slides. Let's quickly, go through that, and then I'll take your all your questions. Okay. Okay. Now, so this kind of slide only. I think I covered it completely in terms of how we come up with these things. Okay. Now, if you look at, say, let's understand now what is the meaning of double quotes. Now, if you, anything you put that in double quote, it retained as it is. It basically it would be print, and this variable would be substituted. Whatever is there, it just prints everything, and anything that you see with any variable that is being mentioned with this dollar, then the value is basically substituted. Okay. Now, there is a one thing. If you put the same similar anything in the curly braces, this will not be performing any kind of operations inside. It would be just printed as a asset, as it is. So your dollar b would be dollar b, and dollar c would be just dollar c. The values will not be substituted. So basically curly braces prevents breaks and substitutions. Okay. So where do we use this? There are scenarios where you might wanted to just retain that as it is, and later you wanted to evaluate. Okay. So we use this curly braces to uh, retain this variables as it is. Okay. And backslash or special character. So if you look at, you have to give a space, then you should use it with backslash, because those are all treated as a special characters. Now, even if you want to print dollar, so you should put it like kind of backslash dollar. Okay. Or so this is one way of you doing it to get this output. Now the other way is you can just say, so set a double quote word with dollar and space. So you can just write it this way, simple. So when you say print it, puts dollar a, it would actually print the same thing. Okay. Now this also the same thing. Okay. So these are all something like you should know what is the right way of you defining a variable, or what will happen. Now let's say you have a, say, set a, say 10 and 15. Now what would be the outcome? Can I give it a try, because we have been talking about it since a while. What would be the outcome of this? Oh, so it is actually going to respond saying invalid. Basically, it says set var name and something like this and a value. It is a kind of, it would print something like invalid, and your definition is wrong. Now, what does this meaning is, it, when there is set, it expects one variable and one value. Okay. Now, if you look at here, there are two values. Okay. So it would actually error out. Now, you might wonder, Kumar, then how can I take care of this? So you can take care of it like this. So this, in this case, it is treated as a one value. Okay. So this is called, and this is going to be called something called list. So we will talk about that as well. So just learn how your language is actually, what kind of, the language comes up with certain prerequisites, right? I mean, basically they have their constructs, and this is how it's you should follow. This is the kind of way you should write. So then it is going to be the compiler friendly, and it is easy for the compiler to execute and give you the desired results. Okay. Okay. Now there is a, we have, if you look at any scripts in our industry, right? So we try to write, the kind of, bigger commands, and say simple, right? The get cells, get pins, get nets, and etc., etc., all of that. So you may have a bigger line. Now what we do is we just substituted with, if you wanted to continue this line in the, this line is not end here, so you can just substitute this with a backslash. Okay, so this is going to be a variable, and backslash, it is a continuation of the previous line. Okay, so this meaning, it's basically this is basically, going here. So this is the meaning of it. Now because of various reasons you wanted to break it. Okay, now you put a backslash and then you continue in the next line, it is still valid. Okay, so you can break single line into multi lines using a backslash. Okay, and next one, substitutions don't change word structures. So now this is your original value, or whatever it is. Okay, now this is going to retain the same thing. Now whatever is there in $a, it is the B will have the same thing. There will not be any kind of change, or manipulation of this, values and etc. So substitutions will retain the same order or structure or whatever. Okay. Okay, and comment. So it is good to add lot of comments. Okay, when you are writing the code, because um, if you look at, right, we will have a lot of lines that we write, or probably there could be some if loop. Okay, which you might have to, say like, for what reason that is there. Okay, uh, let me just show you an example. Okay, now if you look at, so this is what it is called as comment. Okay, it is called comment. Now, so you can put your comments. See here, it's simple, right? Collecting all the switches that is being passed to this particular scripts. And you see here, creating the directory structures if it is not there. And so now I wanted this line to be not executed. Okay, now look at this. So this particular thing, I commented it out so that this line will not be executed it. Okay, so now getting the power domain informations and placement details and all of that. So you should add comments when you write your scripts, so that, remember this, so you might be writing a scripts today and you might not use it for next 6 months, but suddenly after 6 months there could be something you will recollect, you will, try to reuse it, but you might have forgotten, or what logic that you have followed. So adding comments will actually help uh, to, know what to do for this loop is for what purpose, or what is that you're doing exactly in this particular, session or section, and etc. Now remember, when you are adding comments, there are certain rules that you need to follow. Now see here, the start of the line, which is very well valid. Okay, now look at this. So set a, so there's a kind of line, your tickle, command, but you have not mentioned semicolon, so it's kind of space and a colon. Now this is going to error, because the comment has to come at only when in the new line starting. Okay, where the new line starts, it would be in the starting at zero location, or you add a semicolon and your comment starting over here. Okay, now set a colon, a semicolon, and whatever it may be. So I'm just, setting value something. Okay, or say, you can say like, kind of say set, okay, clock cells. Okay, now say ck. any cells with kind of ck. Now what is that? You can say clock cell type, clock cell type. Okay, so this kind of comment now. Okay, so anything that you try to write, or this kind of things will eventually, you have to use it, because as I showed you, right, you might be assuming something when you're writing a script. It is not only for one person. You should target this to be kind of unique, so that everyone can use it across the team or across the group. So that time you may have multiple, variables that you need to look after or taking care of it. So what is the reason behind you choosing this? You add it in a comment. It is easy. For, later, in case when you wanted to debug, it is always easy. Okay, now expressions, so arithmetic operations. Okay, so this I think we just discussed it some time back. So set b, it's b equal to 5. Okay, now, so what is going to be the value of this expression? Now if you look at, there is a precedence, so which takes high priority? This takes high priority. If you look at now, so your 5 into 4, now that becomes 20, and minus 3, it is going to be 17. Now expression, dollar b plus 2, it is dollar b is 5. Now 5 plus 2 is 7. Now when you divide it, so how many times it is actually in that? So dollar b divided by 2. Okay, so that's the remainder, and this kind of carry. Okay, no, I think it should be other way. I think it has to be kind of 1, and this has to be kind of 3, 3 or 2. I think it's going to be 2. Okay, no, it's 3. No, once again, dollar, b is going to be 5 divided by 2. It is going to be 2. Okay, it is going to be 2. Now, so same thing, 5 modulus 2 is going to be 1. Okay, so yeah, that's something, no, unless otherwise you specify it here, it will not be updated. Yeah, that is how it would be. This will be, it will be just return a value. It will not alter any of this. Maybe we will try all this executing and check it out. So whatever that you see here, you execute it and check it out in the environment. So you don't need to trust me. Whatever the output it comes, that's what you should look at it. And my understanding is that it will not be, it will, the value of b would be retained as it is, because you have not set anything here. Okay, yeah. So expressions, you need to, it is going to help you a lot, because let's say when you are trying to create a blockages, or you would be dealing with numbers many a times in the, throughout the scripts. So you should know how to prioritize, or probably give this precedence. And now sometimes what we do is expr, see, it's kind of 5 into 2. Okay, and say minus 10. Now it is going to be kind of say 0. But now if you look at sometimes, if you put it like this kind of 2 minus 10, then what is going to the, the way the tool behaves. So these are all something, so that you would be able, you would add actually the exact, which is your high first priority, which one you wanted the tool to execute. Or now let's say you have a kind of 5 into, say, 10 minus 2. Now you have no idea what is it going to be the one. Now if your intention is to make this first operation, now 5 into 8, it is going to be 40. Okay, otherwise, now if you leave it as it is, it may do this as the first thing, and then it might minus it to, it might produce say 48. Now it's, so you have no idea what is the tool, how it is going to treat it. So you should always make sure guide the tool, in a better way, or whatever the way you want it. You want this to be executed first, okay, just say a bracket, you would be done. Okay. Yeah, maybe we'll take up the questions in the end, please. um, Let me, yeah, please, Aris, put your questions in the chat box, we will try to answer. Okay. Okay, now moving on to the next topic. So the control loops, okay, are the structures. So if you look at, we have, different loops that you can use it. Okay, it is similar, to the C programming or any kind of any other language. So you have if else, and you have a for, you do have a switch and break, for each, while, yeah, while, and continue. Now remember, these are all, you can say, conditional loops. Okay, now if this condition is true, okay, now this, you would be able to, you should use, say for example, if, okay, see, wns is less than 0.05. Okay, so do this. Okay. Okay, now done. So this is your if loop. Okay, or now let's say you have kind of, see, dollar, say cell name. So it's kind of, see, you have a cell name, okay, which is kind of, I'm not writing exact syntax because we need to use the regex and all. So if is equal to memory, okay, do this. Okay, now else, your loop closes here. Now say else if dollar cell equal to double equal to, say, standard cell. Okay, so if it is standard cell, now do this step. Okay, so now done. Or you can also say else, okay, do this. So you write, different, the loops and etc. To learn, as per your requirement. So now you would actually use if, else, and etc. Now there are, many other loops. So you may have an, couple of elements. So basically you have a list, so we will cover that in, upcoming class slides. So you say you have a list. Now you wanted to iterate through each and every element. So now, use for each and while, as long as it is true. Okay, so we say while you are in office, get this work done. Okay, so finish that as soon as, when you are in office itself. While you are in office, get, get this done and continue. So let's say you have kind of, three steps mentioned here, but you don't want last two steps doing it. Or when the condition is met, true, or when the condition is true, you actually continue, you skip and go and bring the next one. So when you are actually parsing the files, you might wanted to, exclude some lines, so you might have to use continue. So we will learn each and everything in detail in the class. Okay, and a simple example. So set x equal to 10. Now dollar $x less than 4, yes, x is less than 4. Now if else x greater than 4, yes, is more than 4. Now else, now there is a condition. Now if it is a x less than 4, this particular steps loop will be executed. Now if it is greater than 4, this would be executed. Now when x equal to 4, equivalent to 4, now this loop will be executed. So you should know. And if you miss this, right, say for example, by mistake you have not put this whole piece of code, then your checking will work when x is less than 4, and you're checking all, this loop, the script will work fine when x greater than 4. But when it is 4, the script doesn't know, the compiler doesn't know what to do because there is no instruction given. Okay, so if else loop, uh, so you should always make sure, you know put your, think through before writing all of this, any of this. Okay, so this is just a simple piece of code that I have just captured it here, just to show you guys. Okay. Yes. I cannot hear your voice actually. Maybe you can put your questions. No, it is supposed to be else if. No, it is okay. So there are questions. It is else if. It is not if else. It is else if. It is else if. Sorry, my bad. Sorry, I cannot hear you. See, there is a lot of breakage in the voice. Okay, so there is another question coming from one of the meeting. Is there any compiler where you can execute all this? So simple, right? Without any tool commands, you have regular Linux machine. Okay, you can just, you have your, how your terminal. You open a terminal. Okay, now you execute all the commands, right? Say pwd or vi and etc. Now there only you can use tcl sh. So now this will take you to tickle shell. You can practice all these things. You can practice all these things. So it is in basic, simple Linux. You can use this, or there are some online links, online, links where you can go and execute the program and check what it is actually doing. That is also possible. Okay. So the whole slide I prepared a whole night actually. So maybe I might have missed it. Okay, moving on to the next one. Now, the important topic in the tickle is basically the list. Okay, so now, as I said, right, if you wanted to add more than one element, okay, or say zero or more elements, you can actually say that has to be put it in double quote, or you can just say like kind of say something like this: list A, B, C, and etc. Okay. Now this whole thing that we call it as an uh, list. Okay. Now list can be nested. List can be nested. Now if you look at here, red, green, blue, these are all elements of that list. Okay. And now if you look at this one, two, this is going to be third element where it is a kind of sublist, and this is going to be fourth. Okay, so if you look at a, b, c, this kind of, three elements in the list. Now if you look at a, say a, b, c, d. Now say c, there are three elements: one, two, and three. Now the second element has multiple values again inside it, multiple elements within it. Okay. Now we do lot of operations using these lists. Say for example, you wanted to, merge two lists, concat and L index. You want to extract particular element from, the list, and you wanted to know what is the length of that list. Okay, now if you guys look at, right, so what is a command that we use to get number of cells or number of instance in the design, number of instances in the design? So there are two things. One is size of collection. That is one thing that we use, and in ours we also use ln top dot instances. Okay, dbgit top dot instances, right? So it helps in listing out how many elements are there. Now the next one is basically L search. You search, say for example, you have a list A, B, C, D, E. Okay, now you wanted to know if there is a C present in this list. Now you use L search and it returns certain value. Now you use that and process it. Okay, now for each, as I said, loops through each and every uh, the element, and L insert. Now let's say you wanted to add element to this list. Do you want to add it in any other, any place? Yes. And now use L insert. And next one, use L range. Okay. L range is basically, you wanted to extract from a particular range, say element 3 to 5. So use L range to extract it, and L sort. So you have A, B, C, D, okay, or say 10, 2, 4, 1, and etc. Now you wanted to sort this list. Okay, use L sort. Okay, and L append. You wanted to add values to, say for example, now you wanted to add red, say green. Okay, let's say navy blue. Okay, say navy blue. Okay, and so you need to use L append. Okay, and list. So this is the variable, this is the, we use this list to create a new list, and L replace. So let's say you have, say now you have a B, C, D, E. Now you want to replace this C with X. Okay, now use L replace. So these are all important because we use this a lot during our the scripting. Okay, because you might find a cell. Now you wanted to replace that with different cell, so you might wanted to use this replace and write out the tool commands. Okay, and remember, all the indices start with 0. So all indices start with 0. Okay, now if you wanted to really you know get the first element, or you wanted to do some post processing, so it is going to be starting with 0. Now end means last element. End means last element. Now look at this. So L index, now this is going to be 0, 1, this is 2, and 3. Now you are trying to extract only the element 2. Okay, so it, when you execute this command, it will return C, D, E. Okay, so that is the meaning of its L. All the indices starts with 0. And L sort, again you have a different types of shorts. Okay, so you have a dictionary short. Okay, and you have a decimal short, incremental, decremental, and different types of shorts. So whatever that you wanted, you can use it. Now all those are kind of options that you have to give it over here. Say you might wanted to say dictionary short, or say incremental or decremental, and etc. So those are all kind of values. Okay, so now I have just given you a simple commands here, but you might have a values over here. I think L index may not have it, but L sort and L replace, or L search, and all of that will definitely have the options. Say hyphen you can give, and use them as and when required. Okay, now a simple thing, right? Say you have a list. Now you wanted to reverse it. Say, for example, now my input is this. Okay, now I wanted to print it in reverse way. So E, D, C, B, A. Now, what is it I'm going to do? Now I'm going to initialize a new list. Okay, I'm going to initialize a new list where it is just initially it is a null, and then I just get the L length, what how many elements are there in this. Okay, now I just loop it through while loop as long as it is more than 0. Now L append, I take out the first one and keep appending it. Okay, so 5 is basically the one, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So it is going to be 4. Now first time it takes 4 L index. So this is the list, and the value that I wanted to extract is 4. Now what is it? It is going to be e. So b is equal to, this b is going to be e first time. Okay, now next time you are minusing it, okay, by minus 1. Now next time b is going to be, and your L append, okay, e and d, and next time e d c, next time e. Now remember, there is a while loop. It is as long as it is greater than 0, okay, greater than or equal to 0. Now c b and e d, next, when I'm just looping through one after other, one after other, okay. Now C, B, A, and next time it is actually going to be 0. So this loop exits and then it prints this particular value. So you will learn how to use these loops, and you also learn, how can you make sure this loop is becoming an independent, indefinite loop. So now what will happen is, if you miss this value in this, it will never come out. It will keep doing it, it will keep doing it, it will just keep appending, it will just keep appending, the e4, e, it is just, it will, it kind of indefinite loop. So you need to be very careful when you are using while loop. Okay. Okay, now next one is basically a string manipulation. So basically, so we also deal a lot of things with the strings. Okay, now, so you have something called, regular expressions you use to find whether, it is correct or not, and then you have a format you wanted to print something in certain, format. Okay, now split, you have a line that you wanted to split, and there is a keyword, it's called a string. And again, you do have something called regular substitution. And scan, you wanted to read something from the keyboard. Okay, so now in C, if you guys remember, right? So there is something called scanf. So we say printf. Okay, so enter value. Okay, now, so you say this and then say scanf, and you say $a or whatever it is. Now it actually scans it, right? So the same way you can use scan for reading the value from your inputs, either keyboard or, your other way of inputs. Now join, can be used to join us two things. Okay, say for example join, okay, say abc and cde. Now when you do this, it is going to be kind of abcde, okay, cde. So something like this, so you can use join also. And now, if you look at string, now subcommands for string. So I'm just going to talk about only the string command. Now, string compare, you wanted to compare, if the values, two values are fine. Now, first, lost and string index and string length, string match and string range. Now, let's say you have a, say, set cell inv underscore x2 underscore hvt. Okay, now string to upper, it's basically say string, okay, to upper. Okay, now dollar cell. Now what it will print is, it will print inv underscore x2 underscore hvt, all in caps, all in actually the caps. Okay, now to lower, so it will convert irrespective of what case it is there. Okay, and trim, so you wanted to trim certain things, you can trim, and trim left and trim right. So these are all the kind of string commands, sub commands for the string, you can make use of it. Okay, now remember, all indexes indices starts with 0, and you want to get the last one, and it is say end. Okay, so see here, string to lower, now whatever it is here, it will be printed in lower, lower case. Now trim left, so it would be kind of, trimmed on the left side. Okay, and index, so the two would be kind of, picking the index value of the value at the tooth position, second position. Okay. And the next important thing is, it is a kind of little advanced, we can call it. So arrays. So we have something called associative arrays. Okay. So now you see here, we used to have a variable, say set a 10. Okay, or say set a 10, 15, something like this. So this simple variable and this kind of list. Now we are moving on to the little advanced thing where this, now you look at this, your variable is having one more dimension. Okay, one more dimension. Now this is, we call it as a kind of the associative arrays. Okay. Now look at here, what do we do here is, now so this also we use a lot in our regular automation. Now say simple, right? Say your design, say set. Okay, set. Okay, now you may have your design. Okay, say buff. Okay, now how many buffers? Okay, say 10k buffers. Okay, now set design. Okay, sequential. Okay, so you have a 3k sequential cells. So now finally your design is the variable, or it's kind of array, which will have all the kind of values, buffer, sequential cells, combinational cells, and etc. So it's kind of, you can extract values. So this is something that we call it as an associative arrays. Now this is kind of, say, single dimensional array, and there is a 2D arrays also. Okay, so you can say like kind of 1 comma 1. Now say buff, right? Say for example, now you wanted to get in little more, say set design, say buff, now x8. Okay, now split it to based on your drive strength, x2. Now how many x1s and how many x zeros? So you can use the same way, the 2D stuff, and you can continuously keep storing the values. Okay, so when you are writing something dynamically, this is something that we follow. Okay, when you have no idea how many drive cents it is going to be. Now what is it we do is, it's called dynamically declaring variables. So you use it, you program, you write a code where this would be kind of variable. Okay, this would be kind of variable, and you, it might be created. So some cells may have x32, and some cells may have only up to x4, say complex cells, all of that. Okay, so dynamically you create variables. So you we use 2D array kind of the structure when you end up in creating the variables dynamically. Okay, so there are 2D arrays as well. Okay, and moving on, so this also plays an important role. Okay, so you will get to learn. And then this is an important thing, part procedures. So this is what we actually use to come up with your own command. Okay, now remember, so this is a proc. Now decrement is a command. Now from now onwards, the moment you load this in your tool, now the decrement is going to be a command. Now whatever value that you give, it minuses it by 1 and returns it. Okay, now say here decrement 3, you call this your command, and you provide your value. Okay, because it expects value. Now the outcome would be kind of 2. Okay, it's as good as you coming up with your own commands, custom commands. Okay. Now if you look at this, say decrement is the name. Now by default it is 1, decrementing it by 1. Now you wanted it with a different value. Now say use this extra value, it automatically now reduced by that much. If you don't give any second value, it actually takes up the default value. Okay, so that is also one of the advantage. You can set your default values. Now if you look at, right, the tools will have default values. Okay, when you're executing, there would be, it says, okay, default is 0 or default is 1 and etc., right? So the same way you can also use this to define your default values. Okay, and say you can also give n number of arguments. Okay, it just loops it through each and everything, and then it returns the final addition of the final value after adding all those values. Now remember, when you are writing a prop, you should always return a value. Okay, so whatever the desired value that you wanted, right? So then you should always return. Okay, so remember, you should define all your arguments proper way. If there are default values, define it here itself, so that in case of missing values, it picks those default values and end of your proc. Now return, it comes out. Now remember, if you put return somewhere over here, this will not be executed, so it just comes out returning this value. Okay, so you should be very careful. Now file operations. This is an important topic, because we open a files, we read files, and we parse the file. Say for example, you have log files, you wanted to now parse the log file, or say you have certain reports, now you wanted to parse those reports. So now you should open that file in read mode. Okay, and then you need to parse them, looping it through each line and parse it. Now if you look at, file has sub commands where, like, kind of open, get, see, flush, glow, close, read, tell, all these are there, but how many of them we use is just it depends. If you ask me, I have used open, gets, flush, glow, close, read, cd, and source, end of file, pwd, file name, and puts. I have not used this configure and f blocked and all. Maybe we'll explore it. Yes, there was no need for me to use. There was no need of me exploring all this, because I did not get into. There was no requirement. Okay. Now look at this. Now the moment you set this, right, it actually comes up with its own variable. Okay, file 4. Okay, now that would be kind of f. Now anything that you wanted to read, okay, you can just normally use it using a loop. Now let's say you wanted to write anything into a file. Now first of all, you need to change the mode of this. It has to be write mode. Okay, and then you should put it, normally we print it, say dollar, file handle, and do this. Now what will happen is this would be written in that file, and then you should close that file. Okay, so that the file that is open in either read mode or write mode, you should always close them for a safe exit. Okay, so that is on the file operations. And remember, we have to deal with a lot on in terms of files, because you might automate something, it might write out a file. Now that file you might have to source it. Okay, so there are a lot of file related operations that you would end up in doing it. Okay, you will get a chance to learn everything. Okay, now regular expressions. Okay, so this is an important topic, and many people who they always stay away from this regular expression, because they don't understand how it actually works. Now what is this meaning? A regular expression is a sequence of characters that contains a search pattern. Now remember, you have a log file, or say any line, so contains, say, warning. Okay, or say error. Okay, or say there is a certain information that you're printing, keyword that is being printed. Okay, now you have to use these regular expressions to pattern matching. Okay, now if you look at regexp is the command. Now so regexp has again lot of optional switches. Now what is the pattern that you wanted to search? Now in which you wanted to search, now first thing is a full match. Now there will be a sub match and etc. So now if you look at here, so regular expressions. Okay, now What is that you want to capture? You wanted to capture any kind of word before the space. Before the space. Okay. Now, if you look at, you wanted to catch this in, say, tickle tutorial. This is your string. You are checking for this. Now, whatever that outcome, assign it to this variables. Okay. Now, when you say puts full dollar, a, okay, that is basically the full match. You see this, right? The full match, and then sub match. Okay, it's b. Now full match is kind of tickle, and sub match is also kind of tickle, because it is both are matching the same thing. Now if you look at this simple thing, but remember, when we go into, completely automating, you finding out some keywords in a file and etc., you might have to learn this backslash s, backslash d, and you will have backslash w. Okay, and all of that. Okay, so you would learn all these when we practice the labs. Okay, and say this kind of file line, and you will just actually, search the patterns, and you assign it to this particular thing, and again, these are all the kind of variables. Okay, so I just captured few examples here, so that you know what level that you would be, learning. Now, so that is on the regular expressions. Now, regular substitutions. Now, let's see, you have a find. So we know basically find and replace, right? So find is regexp. Now, replace, it's basically substitution, regular substitution. Now, so you have a space. Okay, anything, any space, all that space would be replaced. Okay, and it would be stored in this. Okay, so it's kind of one. Now it is not only one. So you see here if and all. Now you may have a kind of a b space c d space e f. Now when you do this, okay, now what is going to be the outcome? It is going to be a b c d e f. Okay, that is how it is going to be. Okay, now regular substitution all. So if you see any kind of, this so the brackets, which is kind of open bracket or close bracket, it just gets replaced with empty. Okay, you are just basically kicking off that, something like this. Okay, so it's, say it's kind of horizontal congestion, and say there is a vertical congestion. So there's some extra string that comes in, I'm getting rid of those extra string. So your regular substitutions, we would be using it, because we might write lot of ECOs, based on, the reports that are being done. So you would actually use them. Okay, and the last slide for the day is now your problems that you are going to execute in the whole course. Okay, so these are all some things that I have come up. I've been doing this. These are all some of them that I have automated, which I use on day-to-day basis. So create placement blockages, to reduce the congestion. So you have a checkerboard placement blockages. Say for example, you create it like this, and okay, so this is one way, one pattern. It's kind of array fashion, and you might wanted to configure the size of blockage and percentage of the blockage that you wanted to allow if it is a partial, and what should be the distance between these two, and etc. So it is kind of you coming up with a utility where you completely take care of your blockage addition. Okay, that is one. And say there's another one is, say you have timing violations. Okay, now you write out a timing report immediately after one round of placement. Now you run your utility, it automatically creates path groups and applies weightage, and you run an incremental opt. So that is another, uh, uh, thing that I have used in the past. Now the next one, say you have a critical path. Okay, now so what managers usually ask is, do I need to escalate this to RTL team or synthesis team, uh, and get this either resynthesized or rewritten RTL and etc. Now, if you look at before that, what we do is, I, ask people, okay, swap all the cells to ELVT and see if it is meeting. Okay, that is one thing. Now pre-place all the cells in that path just sitting next to each other. Your path may be, placed, one cell might be here, one cell might be here. Now there could be another cell might be placed here, another cell might be placed here like this. Now the best way you can identify is place all the cells next to each other, so that way you reduce your net delay. Okay, your net delay is going to be minimum. Okay, now so you pre-place all these cells next to each other, so that is one of the problem, that we can solve it. Now in that whole path, now let's say you have all those nets in that whole path, right? Now get all the nets and assign a higher layer, tell the tool to route using higher layers. Okay, so these are all some things that we usually do it when it comes to critical path. And highlight the macros based on MBIS controller specs. So when we are doing the floor plan, we arrange macros based on either hierarchy or fly line or the data flow diagram, right? Now there is a new thing, something MBIS controller. They might be stitching couple of macros. Now if any of the macros which is spaced apart, okay, let's say if you have a design like this, you have placed your macros, one set of macros and another set of macros. Now by mistake, so if these guys and these guys are grouped in the same MBIS controller, you will have a problem, timing problem. This logic gets split and you will have a problem. Now you write a script to highlight them, okay, based on the SEMBIST controller. So that is one thing. Now next, so many of us will be part of the early stage of projects, early phase of projects. So you might have only Verilog stub netlist. You may not have anything internal. Now have this, you have this. Now you write out a lef for that particular macro. Okay, so that we will do it using both tickle and Perl. Okay, now the next one is, say you have a dot lib. So list all the equivalent, functionally equivalent cells. Okay. Now I want you to say buffer. Say it's kind of, function of buffer. Now how many cells I have? So print all the count and then list of cells, and then fix the max tran violation using a scripts. So you have a kind of, say this is your cell. Now you have a tran issue here. Now you trace out, okay. Now write a script in a such a way that you will fix this tran violation. And now so there is a path. Now identify the high delay cells in a path and swap them to LVT. Come up with the ECO to swap them to LVT. And then you have a complete timing summary, timing path summary basically from your timing report that you dump. And then parse the multiple hold reports, okay, and come up with the timing ECO. Basically you might, the corners, right? So hold corner one, okay, now hold corner two, okay, corner three, and etc. Now all these, okay, all these may have a same endpoint with a different slack. So now you need a unified slack value for each endpoint. So you do all of that, okay. And then with respect to macro, so you have a certain number of macros. Check all the macro play status. Now there is a small proc that you can write, fix all macros as a fixed. Okay, now fix all macros as a placed. And now you wanted to unplace all the macros, unplace it. Now you have a, you have just placed all the macros. Now create a routing blockage around the macro. Okay, now side row cut around the macro and check macro placement if they are in the right placement, right location or not. And then there is something called add boundary buffer and all of that. So these are all the kind of problems that you learn in our class. And not only this, you can bring your own problems too, and we will try to solve, okay, as well. Okay, so this kind of say wanted to give you a glimpse of what is going to be covered in Tickle and Perl. Yes, whatever that we are solving here, now all of them you will again solve using Perl, and I will help you with all the syntax. And Perl has two extra things. One is something called arrays, and then there is another thing called hashes. And we'll also talk about basics of Perl modules as well. So the plan is to cover the making you think like a programmer. How can you automate any kind of regular day-to-day task? Okay, so there are a couple of questions in the chat box. I'll just go through. Okay, Sairam, there is a. Can you please explain lost second line? I'm not sure which slide. Okay, so this one, what is it? uh, you will have a kind of all the violations reported in the timing report, detailed timing report, and I would be interested in what is the start point and what is the end point and what is a slack and what is a skew and what is the logic levels and all of that. So it's kind of complete timing summary, is gives you an rough idea what is the path is. Okay. Yeah. Right. Okay, so now I'm open for questions. Different between collection and okay. So there is a question. Okay, let me just go through it. I'll read the questions and I'll talk about it. So Bala is asking what is the brief difference between C shell, tickle, and Perl and scripting. So, see, C shell is something your Linux environment, okay, where that will not be, inside each and every EDA tool we use tickle. It's basically a tool command language. So anything that you wanted to do inside the tools, you should follow TCL syntax, and you can use C shell and Perl in normal Linux environment. Okay, so she shall say, like, let's say you wanted to fire multiple jobs in parallel, or you wanted to grep certain values and extra normal Linux. So where you use C shell interface. Now tickle you use inside the tool. You invoke a tool and you do a lot of things. Now what are the problems that I was discussing, right? So uh, these are all kind of something that we will be doing it inside the tool. So you need tickle, and Perl is something you have a big files, okay, log files, and you wanted to do some decision making and all of that. So through scripting, Perl, you can do that. Okay, now the next question is, okay, so is it essential to write else and else if immediately after closed? That is a language syntax, so you can refer it. It's better you have a if, only if you wanted to execute certain things, only if this condition is true, then you don't need else. Now if condition is true, do this, else do this, then if else, then you have a if, else if, else. So then you have to always take care of it. Depends on what is your requirement, Manjunath. Okay, now Kaushik is asking, like, if we don't specify as a list, will that be a collection? No, it, if you put it in double quotes, that automatically treated as a list. Okay, it would be treated as a list. Okay, and what is the difference between mbist and dft? Sorry, I think mbist is basically a memory bist, and dft folks will take care of it. It is, so this is not a place for learning the technical things. It's just more of focusing on uh, uh, the programming part of it. So I said mbist because I have seen a lot of challenges with respect to mbist logic timing closure. So that is where I come up with something and I put that as one of the problem here. Okay, so Sri Hari is asking, can we get recorded session of every class? If we miss any class, we can go through. This is going to be completely practical sessions, and I might ask you to, people might share their environment. So here, right, uh, as I said, so I would be giving the environment also. Now, let's say if people choose to use, say, if someone is not having a personal laptop, so then they cannot use this environment. So they might use their office environment. So I don't want to record anyone's office environment. So we will have to work on it. And since this being 100% practical, uh, even if we completely record it, it would be more of me helping some or other candidates who enrolls the course. Okay, so recording is again subjective here. I would try to record when I explain a problem and algorithm and things, but I may not be able to record or share the other's screen. Okay, that is where it ends. Just to make sure we don't capture someone's privacy just because they have joined the course or they are just trying to learn it. And I won't be doing it. I won't be encouraging also. Okay, that's on the recording part. And there is a question. Okay, so Ajay is asking how relevant tickle pearl with skill scripting. So tickle and skill are exactly using the same list based scripting. So to be honest, I started learning skill when I started the scripting. First I learned skill, and then I came to the PD world and then started learning tickle and pearl. So if you know skill, you can easily learn tickle, or you know tickle, you can easily work on the tickle scripting as well. Okay, so the next question is which tool one should learn for verification domain. See, verification domain. See, there are different tools actually. Say VCS and then Verdi and then Incisive. And different tools. Now, the scripting languages used inside that, I'm not really sure. Likely there will be a tickle, or people use Perl also, to do their uh, the environment setup, and making their verification automated. Okay. Uh, Now the next one, I mean, the next question is enroll information process. Basically, missed initial introduction part. Okay. Uh, so basically now, I know there are actually 300 plus people have registered for it, and each of the now two meetings I had actually 60 plus 60, so 120 people. Now I may not be able to take everyone. There is a limitation. Otherwise, I won't be able to maintain the quality. Now, so there is always I'm planning to have a limited number of people, and I already have a people, 15 people have already enrolled, confirmed, and there are many people who have made a payment also. uh, so I may have a maximum 30 to 40 in between, not taking more than that, because I won't be able to, because I need to make sure you write it and I review your code. And yeah, so there is a limited seats. So in case if you are looking for it, just do get in touch with me. uh, okay, and remember this: Saturday and Sunday, 9 to 11, it is only problem solving. And the syntax or any of this theory and all, I will be keep posting it in the Telegram group, and we may not be discussing it in the class. Okay, so we will discuss that, how to use that or how you can solve this problem. Only those kind of things would be discussed in the class, and it is more of, as I said, it's a completely practical. Okay. So the fee is, it's basically 10K plus GST. Okay, so it would come 11,800. Get in touch with me, I'll help you out. Okay, so tomorrow there is no class, because people might need time, and it would be too short. So if I ask people, some people may not be able to arrange money, or I just wanted to give some time. So we will start the real classes from next week. So 8 weeks from next week. Okay. And will okay, so the next question is, will you be covering all the command syntax related deep, like regular response? Exactly. So Kaushik, you would get to learn. Okay, so I can just show you this particular script that I have written, probably in the year of 2009. Okay, so you'd see all my regular expressions and parsing the arguments and etc. Okay, so you get a chance to learn everything. Okay, so you get a chance to learn everything. Okay, so reggae speak. See here, so you get a chance to learn everything. What is that you wanted exactly match patch, the match the pattern and etc. Okay, so you definitely get to learn everything. So regular expression, regular substitution, that is the goal here. As I told you, right, I can guarantee you would rate yourself. So you may be, whatever the maybe, your rating. So now if I ask you to rate yourself currently, rate yourself, okay, out of 10 scale. Okay, now write down this value now. Okay, so end of this batch, end of this course, I definitely would rate 6 to 7 out of 10. And you will not shy away from automating anything or debugging some issues, and or upgrading the existing scripts and etc. That is a That is my target. This is what I wanted to give you. Okay. So this is what we are going to cover, the whole thing, whatever that you have discussed in depth. Now, as I told you, right, probably the theory also this much only. The PPT, whatever that I have gone through, theory is this much only. Now, where you use it, how you use it, is what you're gonna learn in the whole process. Okay. Okay, and so Purna Chandar is asking what is the fee for PD course. So see, PD is basically completely, it's called mentorship that we have it. It is all the way from synthesis to GDS. All the topics are covered, including advanced topics of lower notes. Okay, now the fee is actually 60,000 plus GST, and where you get all the latest tools. Okay. So physical design level one is something, we charges are less. It just focuses only PD. So basics, implementation, sign off checks, and advanced topics. Nothing much. Okay. It's only meant for kind of, people who are kind of college folks. Now, mentorship is something that it covers all the way in complete basics, and all the way from synthesis and pre-layered STA and basics of DFT and everything. And please go on mute. And sign off checks, so you get a chance to learn all the sign off checks and advanced topics. So this is what the difference is. So you get a chance to learn low power methodologies, and we also cover tickle scripting, but it's just very basic level. Now advanced STA topics. Okay. And these are all the important things. Say introduction to FinFET, and introduction to 16 nanometers, 7 nanometers, and then floor plan challenges, where nobody would cover in industry, because so you might have all the kind of theoretical available everywhere, but when you get into 7 nanometer project, what are all the floor plan challenges that you have to focus, or you should know, so that you can implement things better. Okay. So this advanced topics is the one which makes different. And now remember, no one else using something called make flow in the training, because but all the industry uses make flow. So you also get to learn about what is make flow. We have a make flow based training here. And LSF, you would learn basics of it. And yeah. And it also comes with all the kind of packages where you have soft skills training, presentations, resume preparation, interview guidance, and mock interviews, and etc. So with complete placement thing. Okay, and the whole syllabus is available in the website. Okay, so then there is a next question: PD and PD mentorship. Okay, all right. Advanced PD. See, advanced PD, I'm planning to come up with, that's for complete chip level, IO planning, partition, and full chip level clock planning and things like that. So work in progress. We have not decided yet the fee and the duration. So it is the kind of plan. It is in the planning phase. So we will get back to you soon. Okay. So tool will get 2 weeks. So there is a question Naveen is asking, like, so when you get the tool, so you learn all the other syntax, and you get ICC and PT only last 2 weeks. So ICC to for 7 days and PT for 7 days. That's all. Okay, because the license are costly, and I won't be able to provide more than that in this budget. Okay, 10K. And fee again, Hari, the fee for the stickle scripting is 10K plus 18% GST, so it will come 11,800. Okay. Okay, I think that's all. Any other questions? Class would be conducted in offline or on. Okay, physical design is as of now off online, but there is a plan to come up with offline as well. So discussion is going on, figuring out a place to accommodate the people and conduct it. So we will soon announce it. But as of today, it is online, and you get in touch with me. There are some classes happening online and offline also. Um, you can just get in touch with me. But yeah. Okay, any course on only physical design tool part? There is a question. Manoj is asking, any course on only physical design tool part without theory? No, there's a whole thing, and it's of no use actually. So we actually, it's a kind of package. Yeah, tickle course is online completely. Yeah. Okay, all right. Thanks everyone. I think there are 4 more minutes left. If you have any questions, I'll help you out. If not, then we are done for the day. And get in touch with me, and we will try to fill the seats and get started. And just one thing, that it's 100% practical, and you can bring your own problems, and we will try to say as much as possible, work it out as much as possible. Yeah, and missed one more thing, the writing script to fix the DRCs. I think I just strike my mind. So for all the PV folks or even the implementation folks, we will also try to write your scripts and we try to fix it. Uh, so how you wanted to pay the fee? Do get in touch with me on my WhatsApp. I'll try to guide you. Okay. So payment method, you have online, GPay, PhonePay, and then NEFT or AMPS. All the methods are available. Within. Today's PPT, it is only meant for the folks who enroll it. Sorry, this is basically my course PPT, which I may not be able to share out. Uh, Whoever enrolls it, you get a complete access to all these PPTs. Okay. So Jay Shaw is asking PD course or with synopsis. So I have, basically we have the synopsis tools, and you name the tool, we have it, and it is completely, own make flow. So we have written a own make flow, because I lead a CAD team plus design team, so I'm good on writing the flows. I have written many, so yeah. So we don't have a cadence tools. Yes, they're kind of very costly and cannot accommodate in a budget. 2 more minutes. Okay, all right. I think I'll give you back the time. Do not want to hold you back. Thank you, everyone. Hope you enjoyed the session. Even if you're not joining, it is fine. You might have learned something, I believe. Maybe if you guys want to share any kind of feedback, or you want to share what way you wanted to carry the course, or you want to see something extra, you can unmute and talk. Anyone has anything you wanted to say? We have 2 more minutes. Welcome. Yeah, I can hear. Definitely. See, definitely you will learn. Definitely you will learn, because these problems, I would explain why the problem. First of all, where did I face the problem? Now, what is how what is that the end goal of let's say I'm swapping to ULVT, or placing all the cells next to each other. So I will explain problem and what is the solution that I'm actually looking at. Now, I will leave you to your imagination or your logical thinking. Now you come back and you show me, okay, this is how you are trying to write. You can share your idea that how you wanted to write. It's basically an algorithm. And then if it is right way, I would say, okay, go ahead and write it. In case if there is some trouble, if I could foresee, if I sense anything, I would say, okay, this may not work. So it is a more of making you think like a programmer. Okay, so definitely, even if you're not working, you will learn a lot, and definitely it is going to help you, for sure. Anyone else want to share anything? You have a problem, you can share it now. I'll help you out. Okay, nice talking to you all. Hope you enjoyed the session. Take care. Bye.